If I was starting my property investment journey all over again and I had literally no properties, no money, and didn't know how to start, what would I do? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So let's go. Good day, good day, good day. Samuel I Can Win here. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 simple steps that I would take if I was starting my property investment journey all over again. So for those of you who tune into this channel who are brand new, saying to yourself, I have no idea what to do and where to start on my property investing journey, this video is for you. And for those of you, like many of you who come to this channel who are more advanced, owning 5 or more properties and say to themselves, is this video for me? These same 3 steps are going to be of immense value to you because they're going to help you understand how you can elevate your portfolio from where it is to where you want it to be. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. Now, if I'm going to be entirely honest with you guys, if I was starting all over again and I didn't even know the things I knew right now, going back to the start of my property investing journey, what I'd actually do is another 3 simple steps. So I'm going to share with you these 3 simple steps as added value, and then I'm going to share with you the 3 main steps so you guys who aren't ready to take the first set of 3 steps I'm going to share can actually take. All right, now hopefully that's not too complicated for you, but I just want to be very transparent and very, very clear. All right, now the 3 steps I would literally take if I was starting my property investing journey again would be, I would find someone who has achieved exactly what I'm trying to achieve. And when I find that person, I'd literally ask them one question, and that's how much do you charge to teach people how to do what you have done? Now, the thing with this, here's a caveat, that person has to know how to teach it, because there are many people out there, self-proclaimed gurus, who may have done something successfully, but may not know how to teach it. And being able to teach it is a different skill, which is why it's so important. So that's the caveat. The second thing I would do is, after asking them how much they charge, I literally pay them whatever they charge. Listen, I will make that money. I will do whatever it takes to get onto that training program, that opportunity. Why? Because if that person has the ability to convey and teach to me exactly what they've been able to do, listen, I want those skills. I want that skill set so I can be able to change my mindset and then shift all of my assets. All right, so that's what I would do. Okay, and then the third thing I would do is, whatever they tell me to do when I jump onto their training, is I would do it. Okay, I wouldn't think about it, I would do it. I wouldn't theorize it, I would do it. I wouldn't take it for granted, I would do it. And the reason I'm emphasizing this so vehemently is because I want you to understand that there are many people out there who may pay for training and not take the action. So, as I've mentioned, they're the 3 steps I'd literally take, and I don't want to waste your time on this video, which is why I gave you those 3 steps right up front. But at this point, I'm going to give you the 3 steps that you will probably most likely take if you're one of those people who aren't ready to move further faster by taking the first 3 steps I gave you. Now, the first thing I'm going to need to explain to you to help you understand why I would take these 3 steps if I was starting my property journey all over again is by explaining to you how property investment works. Now, in property investment, one of the great things is there are literally 3 core parts to any single property investment. Now, the first part to any single property investment is the opportunity, okay? So we'll just put that as OP, the opportunity. Now, outside of the opportunity, there's another thing that's extremely important, and that is literally, if you want to add that to the opportunity, that is the revenue you need to put in. So we might call that the investment. So OP and IN, okay? So that's the investment that you need to put in. So you find the opportunity, you put in the investment, and then that is what is supposed to equal the revenue for you. Now look, like any mathematical equation, A plus B which equals C, C could be negative. Okay, so if, for example, you find a bad opportunity, no matter how much money you invest in it, it can equal a negative return. And then side by side with that, if you find a great opportunity, but you don't add the appropriate investment, that again can equal a negative return. So I want you to understand there's 3 components at play when it comes to property investment in any singular deal. And they are the opportunity, the specific investment, and last but not least, the actual revenue that is then created. Now, the moment I understand that these are the 3 components, that makes it easy for me to understand what I should focus on. So if I was starting all over again, I'd realize to myself, well, I could either focus on the opportunity or the investment in order to create the revenue. Now, the problem right here is I don't currently have any investment. as I shared with you earlier on in the video, if I was starting all over again with no money, with no properties, what would I do? Well, if I don't have the investment, I wouldn't be focused on the investment. So I'm going to share with you the 3 steps I would take in order to make sure I could build a successful and sustainable property portfolio, even if I didn't have any investment and I was starting all over again with no money. This is what I do. The first thing I do is I recognize that for me, the most important thing that I need to get good at is the opportunity. I need to get good at finding opportunities. Now, here's an interesting thing. The Bible has an amazing verse. It says that wisdom is the principal thing. Now, many people do not understand what the word wisdom means, so I'm going to help you understand what that means as I explain to you the first step I will take. Now, the word wisdom is all about what you do. Wisdom, as I define it, is the application of what you know. Now, the problem is for many human beings, we spend our time trying to know. So, oh, I know that. Have you ever had that kind of conversation with someone when you tell them something and they say, oh, I know that already, Samuel? You see, the reality is most of the things we think we know, we don't actually know because we don't do them. And this is where wisdom comes in, because wisdom is the application, the doing of your knowledge, okay? So I would focus on building my wisdom around one key thing in property, and that one key thing for me would be finding opportunities, okay? It would be finding opportunities. So what would that look like? Well, I'm going to tell you the first step of what I do. The first thing I would do would be to learn a new skill, okay? And some of you might be saying to yourself, Samuel, what new skill would you learn? Well, I would learn the skill using wisdom. I'd practice the skill, I'd learn the skill of finding great property opportunities. Now, here's the great thing. When you learn a skill like finding great property opportunities, you can get practice with that skill without even being someone who's qualified in that skill, okay? Now, someone might say, oh, but Samuel, how does that work? Well, let me give you an example. Let me ask you the question. How did you first learn how to drive? Okay? Now, if you're someone who doesn't know how to drive, I'd like you to maybe put in the comments, how would you take steps to learn how to drive? Because many people, when I ask this question, how did you first learn how to drive, tell me, Samuel, I took lessons. Samuel, my spouse taught me. Samuel, one of my parents taught me. Samuel, one of my siblings taught me. You see, the interesting thing about learning how to drive is first and foremost that most of us, when we first learn how to drive, we don't already own a car. And you know what that means, right? That means that you have not even bought a car, you haven't even used your own money to purchase a car, but yet you get to learn the skill in someone else's car. The second thing that I want to share with you about learning how to drive and how that's so similar to investing in property is that many of us, when we learn how to drive, we don't know how to drive until we learn how to drive. Now, for you, you might be thinking, Samuel, that's so true, but that's also so crazy. How does that relate to my property investment? Well, the way it relates to your property investment is just like learning how to drive, where you don't already own a car, or side by side with that, you don't know how to drive until you learn how to drive. If you start to learn a skill, and when I say learn the skill, I'm talking about learning the skill of finding property opportunities, you will get the opportunity to do the second thing that I would then start to do. And the second thing I'd start to do after I learn a skill would be to practice that skill. Okay, now let me say this. There is no point learning something just for learning it. There is no point in doing that. So I would encourage you, if you learn the skill of finding great property deals, start to practice that skill. Now, by practice, again, if you don't have any money, practicing for you might be selling those property deals to someone else. Now, if you want to go down the property sourcing route, which is the technical term of what I'm talking about is called, you may need to follow some kind of framework in order for you to become compliant, okay? And again, please don't be one of those people like many I've met who go buy a book and spend the next 12 months trying to be compliant, okay? Because it doesn't take 12 months to become compliant to start selling property deals. But nonetheless, I would advise, if I was starting all over again, the first thing I would do is learn a skill, okay? So that's an active thing. The first skill I'd learn is how to find great property deals. And then straight after I learned that skill, I would start practicing that skill. And the reason I'd start practicing that skill is through means of practicing the skill, I would get paid. I'm going to say that again for those of you who might have missed that. Through means of practicing this skill, I will start to get paid. I will literally be paid every single time I practice the skill, because if I find a great deal and sell it to another investor who's active, who's looking for great deals in that specific area, I would get paid. I'd get a finder's fee, I might get a sourcing fee, but I would get paid. And the interesting thing is, the more I practice, the better I practice, the more I get paid, the better I get paid. And not only the more I get paid and the better I get paid, but the better position I get in order to start to use that to build my own portfolio. So the third step that I would literally do after learning that new skill, after practicing the skill of finding great property opportunities, my third step would be to market my skill. Okay? Now, by market my skill, what do I mean? I know so many people have different definitions for marketing, but by marketing my skill, all I mean is I would make more noise about it. I'd tell more people about it. I'll not just let my friends know, I let my friends and family know. I won't just let my friends and family know, I let my friends, family and followers know. I won't just let my friends, family and followers know, I let my friends, family, followers and fans know. And the reason I do that is because the more you market a skill you have, the more you'll be sought after for the skill you have. So if I was going to start my property investing journey all over again, if I had no properties, if I literally had no money and I had to make it work, the way I would make it work is by learning a new skill, specifically the skill of finding great property deals. I then move on to practicing that skill, specifically the skill of finding great property deals, selling them to other people in order for me to make a revenue. And then last but not least, I would then start to market that skill to other people, because through means of me marketing that skill, it's going to increase my ability to practice that skill, and through means of me increasing my ability to practice that skill, it's going to increase my ability to get paid. Now here's one extra bonus thing just to help every single one of you guys who are listening to this. You know, one of the great things about learning this skill, practicing this skill, and marketing this skill is throughout the whole process, I would literally be getting practice on how to find great deals in the future for myself too. This is something I can win. I'm signing out. If you got value on this video, feel free to let me know what was the thing that stood out to you the most and what you potentially learned throughout this video. And side by side with that, why don't you go watch this video right here, where it's gonna add even more value to you and help you move further faster in your property investing journey. And as I usually say, remember that it's small keys that open up great big doors. See you on the next one.